All right, today we're diving into a Serie A match that is way, way more than just 90 minutes of football. Seriously, this is a story about legacy versus ambition, about an old giant facing off against a brand new powerhouse. This is Como versus Juventus. Okay, so let's break this down, kind of like setting up the two fighters in the ring. In one corner, you've got Juventus, the old lady of Italian football. Their name is basically synonymous with winning and tradition. And in the other corner, Como, the new kids on the block, fresh into the league, and backed by some of the deepest pockets in the entire sport. You gotta understand, this showdown in round 7 isn't just another game on the schedule. It's symbolic. It's the old, established order of Italian football coming face to face with this disruptive new force, a force with the money and the ambition to shake the whole thing up. So first, let's talk about the titans in this story, Juventus. This is a club literally built on a foundation of trophies, legends, and over a century of dominance. I mean, they are Serie A in a lot of ways, the benchmark that every other club measures itself against. So for Juve, the goal here is pretty simple. Under their coach Igor Tudor, they've been playing this really exciting, attacking style of football. And after a couple of frustrating draws, they're gunning for a third straight win to really cement their place at the top and, remind everyone, especially the newcomers, who runs this league. Okay, now let's flip the coin and talk about the challengers, because this is where the story gets absolutely wild. We need to talk about Como, a club that has gone through one of the most unbelievable transformations in modern football. And that's really the heart of it, right? Como's rise isn't just surprising, it's almost impossible to believe. To really get what they're doing now, you have to understand just how close this club was to disappearing completely. Just look at the speed of this turnaround. In 2017, the club was bankrupt for the third time. Let that sink in. Then, just 2 years later, they get bought by Indonesian billionaires, and by 2024, boom, they're back in Serie A for the first time in over 20 years. It's an absolutely meteoric rise from the ashes. So what's the engine behind this whole project? Well, it's an almost unimaginable amount of money. The Hartono brothers, who made their fortune in the tobacco industry, have a combined net worth that just dwarfs most other club owners on the planet. And this number right here shows you they mean business. They didn't just get promoted to try and survive, they came to compete. This summer alone, they dropped over 100 million euros, making them the second highest spending club in the entire league. And who is number one? Yep, the team they're about to play, Juventus. But here's the thing, it's not just about spending tons of cash. They're actually building a real project here. They brought in World Cup winners like Rafael Varane and Sergi Roberto for that veteran experience, but they also shelled out big money for exciting young talent. It's all being led by a sharp, young manager in Cesc Fabregas. And they've even got another legend, Thierry Henry, involved on the board. It's a really smart, ambitious strategy. Okay, so that's the story. Old guard, new money. But how does all of that actually translate to what's happening on the pitch right now, heading into this huge game? Let's look at the numbers. And would you look at that? After 7 games, they are neck and neck. Both teams are sitting there on 12 points with the exact same record. 3 wins, 3 draws, and 1 loss. So this isn't some David versus Goliath match, at least not in terms of current form. This is a battle between equals, with a shot at European qualification very much on the line. Of course, if you look at history, it tells a very different story. The last couple of times these two met, Juventus handled them pretty easily. But that was a different Como. This new, supercharged version of the club is playing at home, and you better believe they're looking to make a statement by finally taking down the Giants. So what can we actually expect when the whistle blows at the Stadio Giuseppe Sinigaglia? Let's break down the tactical battle and, maybe more importantly, the key players who won't even be on the field. This is such a fascinating matchup on the sidelines. You've got the young visionary Cesc Fabregas leading his exciting new project against the more experienced Igor Tudor, who's also got Juventus playing a really proactive attacking style. One thing's for sure, both teams are going to go for the win. But, and this is a big but, both managers have to get creative. Como is going to be without their record signing, Jesus Rodriguez, because of a suspension. That is a massive blow. At the same time, Juventus is dealing with a bit of a defensive crisis, missing their star center-back Bremer and a few other key players. Honestly, these absences could completely decide the outcome of this match. I think this quote from Como's president just says it all. Yeah, they have the money to dream big, but their whole approach is surprisingly level-headed. They aren't demanding instant success or a trophy tomorrow. They're focused on building something that lasts, aiming for the top, but they want to get there naturally. It's a philosophy that makes them both ambitious and really patient. Which leaves us with this final massive question. Is Como just a flash in the pan, or are we literally watching the birth of Serie A's next superclub? This game against Juventus, it's more than just a test. It might just be a preview of a whole new era, an era where old money and new money collide for the future of Italian football.